Around on Valley, I'm kind of playing with my map trying to get you the name of the streets. We're in the El Sereno area, El Sereno, University Hills. So we're very close to the 10 freeway, very close to the USC medical area. And you can see that he seems to get on the majors and then gets off onto these smaller streets. And of course, every time he gets onto the smaller streets and he starts doing that stuff right there, you just got to worry. You got to wonder if somebody else is coming the other way, somebody's walking across the street. This guy's barreling down these streets, hard turn right there again. And these are what the law enforcement, these are reasons why they do that back off, because they figure if they back off, then the car will slow down. You can see it. There's nobody. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. There are. The Alhambra PD right behind him. So that's why, maybe one of the reasons why this person's still driving so erratically. But again, all these departments have different policies. LAPD is actually calling the pursuit in the air. Alhambra's chasing this guy on the ground.
You know what's dangerous is a lot of the people who are on the road, and luckily it seems like that was close. It seems like there aren't a whole lot of people, although he's on the freeway, it seems, don't know what's going on, right? And you often think about the innocent bystanders that are in danger because they have no idea. They're driving or walking around, and all of a sudden there's this pursuit, and God forbid they can really get hurt.
That's one of the reasons, we do a lot of pursuits. A lot of people talk to me, law enforcement, but mostly civilians. And, that conversation always comes up. Should they be behind them? Should they be behind them? Should they be, or should they back off? And, those type of decisions, those are well above my pay grade. I would never want to even be involved in that type of decision making, because if somebody gets hurt, it was the wrong way. You did the wrong thing. But you know what? You're so right. When at least they are behind them, the lights and the sirens, it probably will get somebody's attention, meaning a civilian. I think they're asking to drop the map. They're calling us on a different radio. They're asking us to drop the map. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. And so, but basically right now, westbound 10 freeway, and you're seeing how this person is driving, erratic, making these lane changes so fast. And if you really pay attention to that van, you look at it right there. You see that little sway in the back. That is, that is what I'm watching right there, because if he makes too hard of a turn, too fast, or she, the suspect, the driver, this could end very, very badly. We never want to see anybody get hurt. But in this case right here, Alhambra PD right behind him, LAPD right above him, and they're making these calls. They might hand this off to the California Highway Patrol. We're going to be westbound on the 10 freeway, going to be joining the 101. So we're going to be in downtown Los Angeles here in just a moment.
Seems like he or she, the driver, has picked up steam, or does it just seem that way from my vantage point? It seems like the person is getting a little bit more risky, a little bit more daring, and now you see he's coming in, or she's coming into an area where there are some more cars.
They want the speedometer on. I'm sorry. I'm passing along information back and forth. They were asking for the speedometer. I'm sorry about that. But you know what? We're getting into a lot of traffic right here, and this is where this driver, the only words I'm coming up with, the adjective for this driver's behavior, is desperate, making very desperate moves. And when you get into this traffic, and now you got buses involved, and like you said, anybody on the ground down there, I'm always thinking to myself, what if my mom is down there? They have no idea that this van is barreling down on them, now cutting way across, getting onto that huge emergency lane out here, trying to avoid the traffic. Alhambra PD, these guys, I got to hand it to them. These drivers, really, these officers, right on this guy's tail almost the entire time. Now he's pushing his way through the emergency lane right there. I say he, but we don't know. I thought for a second when we saw it from the side, could possibly be a female driver. But again, the stolen vehicle, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Look at this. Look at this. How many times have you've been stuck in traffic and wanted to do something like that? You shouldn't poke any fun of it. How many times have you've been stuck in traffic and wanted to do something like that? You shouldn't poke any fun of it, because we just don't know how this is going to end. But this driver, very desperate this afternoon, and still trying to avoid law enforcement, moving around these cars. Thank goodness we haven't seen an accident. We haven't seen any paint being swapped. But this van continues. Just watch this. It is weaving in and out of traffic out here. We're on the 101 freeway, just north of downtown. We're going to be coming up on the 110 here shortly. But hopefully this van either runs out of gas or this driver comes to their senses and just pulls over.
Well, Stu, you just said a stolen van. That's what's being reported by police, and you're asking the question, is it worth it? On top of that, excuse me, on top of that, with every infraction, this is all going to go on the record and work against this the suspect.
Well, you know, they throw out a big blanket. There's nobody down there right there doing, didn't use the blinker, illegal lane change, drove on the curb, ran a stop sign. They're just going to throw, it's just going to be a blanket, you know, reckless driving and evading. Those are felonies. And that's all they're going to do right there when it comes to, when they get this person stopped. Hopefully that person will be able to be charged with something, meaning that we just hope that this doesn't end poorly. Right now, you know, you can see he's on that transition. It looks like we're going to be staying on the 101. Good choice, bad choice. You know, pulling over would be the best choice. But right now, I can tell you, looking up ahead, 101 does seem to open up right after we get past the 110 freeway. Alhambra, now these guys, I just don't know their policies. We don't really interact with the Alhambra PD that often. Don't know if they're able to pit. Don't know how they're going to try to bring this thing to an end. But right now, this vehicle continues to elude officers. LAPD in the air. Perhaps CHP will pick it up. But again, right now, all they can really do is kind of keep an eye on where this van is. Hopefully it doesn't hit anybody or there's an accident involved. But right now, this van keeps moving. Alhambra PD on the ground. They're backing off just a little bit. They haven't given up. They're not doing that. Okay, we're just going to let this thing go. This guy's driving too crazy. But the LAPD helicopter still above it, still calling out the locations. And you can see in the shot, Vinny's getting a little bit wider, how far back these Alhambra officers have gotten. The driver, well, let's just say slowed down a little bit. We're not seeing this person flying by all these other cars on the freeway anymore.
All right, Stu. So again, Alhambra PD is the one that is the lead agency here in this pursuit as this stolen vehicle continues. Again, we have no idea who the driver is or what the circumstances are other than that this vehicle was stolen. But we certainly have seen this driver driving extremely erratically at times and recklessly. And people should know that when this occurs, there is mandatory jail time involved.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, the deal right now is they're just kind of keeping an eye on this. And you know, the adage, drive it like you stole it, that was what was going on earlier. Now you're seeing this driver calming down just a little bit. I'm looking out the window trying to get an idea if Alhambra PD is still behind this vehicle. They did drop way back. LAPD, they might be in tracking mode right now. I'm going to have to push some buttons and try to listen to some radios. But that van's basically on its own at this moment. And stolen vehicle, that, you know, like we said, those are the, you know, that's what law enforcement has to deal with. It's like, how badly do we want to get this criminal off the road? It's a stolen van. You know, what are we going to do? Looks like you just passed the California Highway Patrol vehicle, and so they might be handing it off, so we might be able to listen in. But again, way over to the right, who knows? We might be getting off the freeway.
Well, and again, as you say, different agencies react differently and have different procedures and protocols. But as long as you have that chopper up in the sky, I mean, they're not going to lose this guy. And if, in fact, you can still see now there is a unit. Now, is that a CHP unit behind him on Alhambra PD?
Patrol, Tony. Some of our best California Highway Patrol out there.
There you go.
And you know, they are pit qualified, but you have to have all these right type of situations involved. It's got to be at a certain speed, no other vehicles around, a wider road, and all these different things have to be in play for this guy to actually, or that officer to actually do it. It looks like we're going to be getting off the freeway right there. That doesn't mean California Highway Patrol is just going to throw their hands up and go, "Oh, he's off the freeway, not my problem." They're going to stay with it for a little bit. LAPD, they might have to pick it up. But we can see Melrose, Normandy, anybody that drives out here knows this is a tight one with a lot of traffic all times of the day and night. And let's see what that van does to try to get around it.
Well, presumably all of these various agencies, because we are going through different cities, through different, you know, municipalities and different, obviously different jurisdictions, these agencies would have to be in touch with one another about what's going on right now.
Oh, definitely. There's no doubt about it. If they're actually communicating directly with the law enforcement, meaning the officers in the vehicles, or if it's just supervisors, oh, I hope he's not doing one of those. We're going to park underneath the freeway and just wait and see what happens. California Highway Patrol right on him. Nope, he made a U-turn there and basically getting back onto the turning around right there. And California Highway Patrol, we're hearing them now, and we're following along with them. But that driver's, you saw those erratic moves where he kind of drove on the curb, or let's just call it the suspect drove on the curb, and to maneuver around there. That is actually quite tame to what we saw earlier on. Right now, getting onto heavy traffic, this was a poor choice. The traffic going into the city is going to be, southbound 101 is going to be way more packed. And California Highway Patrol, they're on the ground behind him. LAPD in the air watching them. Looks like Vermont, or not Vermont. We're not getting off the freeway.
Yeah, well, it's really hard to know. I mean, yes, he's calmed down some, or he or she, we're not sure which. This driver certainly has calmed down some, but still, yep. Stu, every now and then we see an erratic move here or there.
Yep, there's an erratic move right there. I believe that's a bus lane, or used to be a bus lane, and basically just kind of made that little bypass right there, speeding up a little bit, taking advantage of the no traffic. But there's just more and more traffic as we get closer to the Echo Park area in downtown Los Angeles. It gets more and more packed, and you can see it right there. And that must be so frustrating for law enforcement to be able to get so close to that car, or that van in this case, and not be able to really stop them. The only thing they can do right now is kind of follow along. It's only one unit. I have a feeling, I'm not 100% on this, I have a feeling that their policy is that they need at least 2 officers to actually make that stop, or to force this vehicle to stop. So they're going to be waiting to see if we get another law enforcement behind it there. Tony, maybe your shot's a little bit better. Does it look like or is it just shadows? It's just shadows. I thought there was something up with the driver's side front wheel.
Well, and Stu, here's the thing with situations like this. I mean, unless law enforcement agencies have specific information with regard to exactly what's going on here, there are so many unknowns, which is why they have to proceed so cautiously. They have no idea whether this person is armed. They don't know really what's going on in there. The only thing they know at this point is that there's a stolen vehicle, and this person has been driving erratically and at very high speeds at points.
Definitely. But the one thing that they do know is that this driver is a menace right now. And there's a possibility this person could injure any other people here on the roadway. Even when officers kind of backed off, we saw the van kind of slow down. But it constantly is making these erratic moves, cutting in and out, stolen vehicle. And you're so right, Tony. A lot of times, if it's a registered owner, meaning, they can run the plate and they say, oh, this guy's got warrants, or oh, this guy has no warrants. That works in their favor, where they can make a decision what to do. How aggressively are we going to pursue this guy? In this case right now, all we know, stolen van, and we don't know who took it, what the reasons were, but we do know this driver driving extremely erratically. We were watching earlier on when we were in the Alhambra area, Huntington Park. This guy was basically, off of Huntington Drive. This van was going in the 80s and miles an hour, wrong side of the road, jumping over medians, fishtailing. So extremely dangerous types of driving, putting the public at risk, and that's probably one of the reasons why this pursuit continues this morning.
Well, and we always ask, Stu, I mean, it's a rhetorical question, obviously, because we never really know what's going through the mind of someone who actually flees from the police under these kinds of circumstances. But it's because someone is in that mindset that law enforcement has to proceed so cautiously in situations.
Hi, my name is PJ. This is my son, Javid.
Hi.
We've been deputized by Honda to be helpers today.
Hey, Mom. What's happening?
Okay.
We're getting off the freeway now. Glendale. Right. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Law enforcement, that is one of the first things that that I kind of learned in the media, is that law enforcement, that is their deal. That's when magically the officers would have appeared there and taken that suspect into traffic. That's the only big plus about this morning, light traffic on these streets. Definitely, and you know, I love it when you get asked that. It's like, well, what do you think this guy's doing? You know, the only thing you can say is driving at the moment, or driving poorly. You know, it did start out in the Alhambra area. We did make our way all the way to downtown, and now it does appear that we're working our way east-ish. So perhaps we're going back to the area where that vehicle was stolen. You just don't know, but I can tell you that right now you see these intersections. I see more cars out there. I see more civilians, and I just get more and more worried. And it looks like we're going to be going on another bridge right here as we're making our way. I believe this is going to be on Cesar Chavez. So we're right by Union Station. Clearly, you see all the railroad tracks. And you know, at one point, I'm hearing them talk about it. You know, they're basically relaying the information to their supervisors. When I say they, law enforcement, basically saying, look, this guy's driving on the wrong side of the road, this guy's running red lights, and then that supervisor is either going to make the decision, you know, do we keep chasing him or do we just back off? And right now, it looks like there's at least staying in the air. The LAPD is definitely going to be calling it from the air, and law enforcement on the ground. Sorry, Tony, go ahead. Oh. Yeah. Oh, so many times, and a lot of times, you know, the suspect basically just gonna run out freedom as long as they can. That I think that's really the mentality of anybody running. It's like, you know, they pretty much know they're gonna get caught. But like you said, the gas, that could be the big problem. And I mentioned that earlier on when he was driving extremely fast on Huntington Drive earlier on. That van was fishtailing a lot, and it just made you realize there's no weight in the back of that van. So I kind of thought, well, maybe the tank's empty. But you can see the van just driving more normal. I don't know what the speed limit is down there, probably about 35, so technically speeding, but at any rate, continues on, and it looks like this is the first time, thought he was actually going to stop for a stoplight. I stand corrected. Running another light there. Yep, there he goes. But traffic's getting really heavy, and I just wonder, every time he gets into he's stuck. Yep. And I think, yeah, they're just following. I guess it's just being followed in the air right now. The California Highway Patrol, they backed out of it. Basically, it's probably from the same thing. It's like, it's a stolen van. Do we want to see somebody lose their life over a stolen vehicle? No. And so somebody's making these decisions, and it's based on protocols. It's based on what they've been taught and how they can weigh out all the whole situation. So right now, just being followed in the air by LAPD helicopter, but that doesn't mean that everybody's walked away. The most likely what's going to happen now is the van's driving a little bit more normal. If that van does come to a stop someplace, I know it, we've seen it so many times in the past, magically all these officers from whatever law enforcement agency where it ends will just appear, and we'll take that suspect into custody. The helicopter calling out the streets, telling the officers on the ground where this van is. Looks like we're back on Valley, so this is kind of where we picked it up. So perhaps he is making his way back to where this whole thing started. Oh, definitely. And you can see it. There you go. The tactics seem to work. That desperateness of, you know, the cops are right behind me, I got to go. It kind of wore off. The van still driving 50-something miles an hour, now slowing down a little bit. Valley's a little bit of a bigger street. The helicopter, LAPD, thank goodness for them. They are out there. They're calling it out. They're letting the officers on the ground know where it's at. But it even looks like they are, you know, they're lightweight leaving as well. I got to find out for sure. But it looks like they may be calling this thing, just everybody's calling it off. So we'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully this van doesn't collide with anybody. Yes. Well, it definitely seems to be working. That van's the attitude is really kind of simmered down, as it would be. Just kind of like just doing the traffic, the speed of traffic. Hope that wasn't a red light. I don't think it was. So it does. The tactics do seem to be working. The LAPD helicopter, it's an unusual sight for us. He went way up high, possibly to make that suspect feel like nobody's watching him, or at least LAPD isn't watching him anymore. Usually they're way below us, so we are actually got almost a better view right now, which is unusual in itself. But the van just continues to drive down there. They are calling out the streets. They know where this guy or woman is, and right now it is just kind of a watch and see type of situation. The huge plus right now is the backing off tactic does seem to be working in this case. This driver definitely slowing down, at least not running every stop sign and red light that comes in front of it, and you can see possibly just making their way back to a place where it's familiar, where perhaps they're going to try to jump out and try to run, or just abandon the vehicle somewhere. But it shows you that these tactics do work, and those law enforcement, they definitely know what they're doing. Definitely. Oh, definitely, and in the desperation is that was like the only thing that I could really come up with, is that driver was driving extremely desperate. There was you could see there was just this desperation in the moves. It looks like we did just run a red light right there, and I was kind of wondering. It almost looked like the van was going to stop there in the intersection. So perhaps this person is really looking for that opportunity to just kind of stop and get out and run, or just abandon the stolen property. We'll keep an eye on it. But just again to say everything about the law enforcement, those officers that are behind that vehicle, they're human beings, and they've got the adrenaline, and they're basically challenged. It looks like we're turning onto a residential street. But the bosses, the management, you got to give them credit, because they're the ones that are basically telling the guys on the road, look, you got to back off, and they follow they follow the rules, just like like we do at work every day, Tony. Up, here we go. This might nope. Yep. No. Yep. Well, he's clearly watching us. He's clearly watching Fox right now, and keeping an eye on what's going on. Oh yeah. Well, we are, we've talked about that in the past too. Do we have like the Blue Thunder whisper mode? No, we definitely don't. And in this case, we're definitely not alone. There is an armada of helicopters out here. But you have to remember too that lens is very, very powerful. We are extremely high up in the air. If you would stop and try and listen, of course you're going to hear the helicopter. Inside that van, I would guess probably not. I'm being very serious about that. He probably doesn't know. Right. Yes, definitely. I'm sure that's probably going through the suspect's mind right there. It looked like there might have even been a camera crew down there on the ground as it just went through that residential area, hitting those bumps again. Every time he or she starts speeding up, I just always worry, especially right now when we're in these little neighborhoods, these tight older neighborhoods with these little tiny roads. Just somebody's a dog or a kid just steps out of it. We don't want to see anything like that. But definitely looks like, I would only guess, looks like they're trying to find a spot where they can kind of get out and just walk away and be like, I don't know where that came from. There you go. You got somebody probably clueless about what's going on right there, or yeah, what's going on here? Maybe he's like, hey, you want the van? Do you want to take my van? Anyways, we'll see what's going on right there. It looked like there was an exchange of words, at least. Definitely. Definitely. Maybe the driver called that person over for a minute. But at any rate, driving much slower. Interesting for sure this afternoon or this, early morning, late morning. And the van just continues to drive. Law enforcement, I have a feeling they're nearby. That's the only thing I can say. And it doesn't seem like, it seems like this van just taking any turn it can. And it looks like here we go again. Let's see if this is it. Let's see. And looks like they're putting it in park. Yeah. We can't tell what earlier on I was trying to look through the front window when we first got over this, and it clearly was just the driver, but it is a van. There might be somebody in the back, but that would have been a heck of a ride for anybody sitting in the back of that van. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And there you go. Yeah. Again, I'm just going to say suspect right now. But at any rate, got out, kind of looked around like, hey, is anybody still following me? Well, look at that. I'm getting away with this. I don't know if the van ran out of gas or why, but this is an unusual spot. And also not running from, and it's got food. There you go. Maybe it was a catering van. Maybe that was what's going on there. Had an emergency delivery that they had to make right here. Maybe it's an Uber Eats or something. But at any rate, looks like got out with a lot of food. And when have we seen one that's not, Tony? Left the food there on the curb. So maybe it's that touchless delivery where you don't because of COVID they don't want to knock on the door. Yeah, contactless delivery. Up. Yep, there you go. I told you. There you go. Up. No. And we're off again. So it just makes you kind of wonder what was going on there. It looked like this guy was doing some grocery shopping and was unloading the van. But at any rate, here we go again. And that was definitely Alhambra PD that pulled up there. No, definitely. And you got to give props to that Alhambra PD officer. You know, he tried to block him in. The van definitely went up on the curb there to get around. So Alhambra PD, they're definitely trying to bring this thing to an end. They're trying to get this suspect in custody. But that was the strangest thing ever. That guy got out, brought some food out, and looked like he was getting more groceries. And then, yeah. Definitely. But, again, it's not over, so we can't really poke that much fun at it. The van's still moving. The speed's clearly not as high as before, but you can see the erratic driving is starting again, making those hard turns. I'm not sure if Alhambra is actually pursuing that vehicle or if they are. Okay, there's a number of Alhambra PD that are getting back into position to try to bring this thing to an end. Also, like we talked about earlier, I'm not that familiar with Alhambra PD and their policies. I don't know if they can, or if they are pit maneuver trained, if they're able to. You clearly saw that one officer made an effort to block the vehicle. So they do have some techniques to bring this thing to an end. Alhambra PD following. I got to say, I can tell you they're way behind. There's 4 vehicles there from Alhambra PD, and there you got a street cleaner, and this guy's going to just kind of go right around him there, and thank goodness there was nobody on the other side running. They actually did run a stop sign right there with a bunch of vehicles. But the van continues. Alhambra PD, they're getting themselves back into position. And right now, so I don't think this technically is their jurisdiction, but boy, they want to bring this thing to an end. They want this suspect that they continue just to kind of follow along, and like you said, like we both saw, that guy just basically tried to block him in, pedestrian, and that guy did that. So now the danger level is kind of just picking up again as this guy's running red lights and just driving reckless out here this morning. It's very dangerous. And I, you know, we've seen tragedy happen, unfold in front of us many times, and just in our business, you know, people. I think because we're around our cars all the time, and we kind of become desensitized at how dangerous a vehicle can be, especially a vehicle moving at speed. And you know, people lose their lives every day involved in traffic accidents, and heaven forbid this vehicle hits somebody, a pedestrian. We lose kind of lose that. We get desensitized to how dangerous a vehicle moving can be. There's some law enforcement right there. Looks like we're going into an alleyway. These are always difficult because you just don't know unless this person knows this alleyway. A lot of these dead end. So we'll keep an eye on this right there. I'm trying to look out the window just to get a little heads up. And we're continuing on. Yep. Vinny's pointing out there's a structure fire out. Actually, LA City Fire, I saw it on my dispatch. There's an actual structure fire nearby. But right now, this van is driving on some in an alleyway out there, and still making these weird turns. There was law enforcement about a block away, just parked there. So I don't know if he's taunting this guy, because it looks like he's heading right back to where that officer was parked just moments ago. Yep. Yep. It looked like a tray of food. It looked like some sort of serving dish. That this guy got out, and then also went back and looked like had groceries, had bags of groceries in his hands or her hands. So they're all a little strange. This one is definitely going to make the odd file for sure. The van continues just to kind of drive around out here, very residential. These streets a little bit newer, a little wider, which is a plus. That one officer seems to be at that intersection, and we're going back again. We're going back again. We were just here just a minute ago. So if he makes... Definitely. And there's a law enforcement officer at that intersection. If he makes a right turn this time, he's going to go right back where he was. Looks like the van's kind of stopped there and was talking to somebody else again. That's kind of unusual. So he's making a right turn. When he gets to that main intersection, there's a black and white and a law enforcement officer in that parking in that little store area, was backing up earlier on, kind of like trying to maybe... There he is, right there. You see him on the top of the gas station. I didn't know what it was. But yeah, there's law enforcement. Two of them. Yeah, well, he went by him twice already, so it might, I hope he's not taunting the officers. That would just be wrong. But at any rate, made a U-turn this time, now going away from there, so we're leaving that area where he's been making those U-turns. Somebody right there holding a sign, ran out and was holding a sign. Hopefully it said, "Pull over, buddy." But maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But back onto Huntington Drive, driving a little bit better. But you just see it. Law enforcement all over the place. When this guy stops, hopefully this time it'll come to an end. Another red light. It looked like some food. Yeah, it looked like one of those giant aluminum. Yeah, it looked like one of those giant aluminum. Yes. He seems to be very chatty. This person seems to enjoy having a conversation with anybody that'll grab his ear. We've seen him talk to like two people now just that had happened to be near the van. And again, we don't know if these are people at home watching and going and trying to make contact. And believe me, law enforcement does not want that at all. And Yeah, and neither do we, because you just don't know what this person is thinking. But we've seen him have a discussion with at least 2 pedestrians so far, and right now, basically doing the, I'm just a guy driving a van. I'm here on Huntington Drive. We're at a stoplight, and right, and blending in, probably one of the best things he could do right now, and at least it's safer for the folks driving around him. Again, coming to another stoplight here. So you see it on the map. This is Sereno and Huntington Drive. So this is kind of a major intersection out here. Law enforcement, I am sure they are nearby. Hopefully they'll be able to bring this thing to a stop. We saw that El Sereno officer try to, interact or basically bring it to what is it called, pursuit intervention. They wanted to do that intervention, pull in front and bring that thing to a stop. But right now, this guy's just kind of driving around. We're keeping an eye on him. I know law enforcement is as well, but they are definitely not in pursuit. Oh, yeah. Yep. Now he's talking to the guy next to him. Yeah. So he's talking to the driver next to him right there. You can see him talking to the truck driver, clearly trying to get anybody's ear. Vinny's given us some fantastic shots this morning, getting a shot inside the van right there. So clearly chatty. Don't know what he's talking about. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it's not. It looks like we're pulling over again or making a... No, we're not. Okay. So at any rate, just continuing on right there, Eastern Avenue. Right here, not that big of a street. A lot of people know Eastern as like the big, 6-lane road. Right here, it's a little smaller, but it just continues on. Law enforcement calling it out. And you just got to wonder if these guys are close enough, they might try to do something. Next time he slows down, there's some law enforcement. Yep, we're going the other way. That's LAPD's, looked like it was Northeast Division. So at any rate, everybody knows this is going on, and meaning the law enforcement. And so they're just kind of being in the area in case they're needed. I'm doing the air quotes, needed, if this comes to an end. There's no doubt about that, and that is the reason why one of those weird questions is like, why do we follow these, or why do the law enforcement? Because this is a person that's committing crimes, has been a danger to the public, could be a danger to the public in a heartbeat. Like you were saying, Tony, we just don't understand. We have no rhyme to reason. There you go. He was using the left turn lane to pass some vehicles right there. And in a heartbeat, this guy could be a danger to the public again, possibly injure himself, hopefully never injure anybody else. And so, yeah, that's the reason why law enforcement want this guy in custody. And possibly, there might be more to it. And maybe, look on the bright side, maybe this person might get some help if he gets into custody and, is able to maybe find some counseling or help for whatever ails this driver right now. Definitely. Right. Whoop. Yeah. Definitely. And it does seem like almost like more people are getting involved. That little car right there, I was just going to ask Vinny to go a little bit wider. That car basically was blocking the road, trying to bring that van to a stop. And now you can see that that vehicle is in pursuit. And this is something that I'm telling you, law enforcement will pull that guy over as quickly as, if not faster, than the suspect itself. If he actually tries to do a pit maneuver, I don't know what I will do, because it looks like that vehicle is trying to get into place. So somebody else is getting involved here. Now it looks like possibly passing. And Tony, who knows? This could be a friend of the suspect, or somebody that might have lived at that house and knows this person, and maybe trying to, somehow communicate some sense into this guy, saying, "Hey, look, just pull over." Or it could just be some kind of renegade rebel guy that's just trying to bring it to an end on his own. Yep. Yep. Definitely. And and any kind of vigilante out there that would think like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring this to an end." Believe me, law enforcement, these guys, I know it might come as a shocker, they are well trained at what they do. And believe me, it is a lot harder than anybody could think to just kind of bring a van to a stop or bring a suspect to just kind of give up. So that car right there now kind of falling back, hopefully that person got a little bit of sense and was like, or I'm not getting this guy's attention, and it continues on. But definitely there was some definite interaction right there with that little van and then chasing after them. Right now, though, that van just kind of doing free roadway speeds back onto Valley Boulevard, making our way back into the city. We're going to be we're getting kind of close to the north side of USC Medical again, so definitely out of the Alhambra area, and moving with traffic, just kind of blending in. I don't know if the driver's going to do that whole let's go back into the city and then come all the way back into the Alhambra area or not. But right now, basically driving with the traffic, and okay, as soon as I said it, there he goes. It looks like he's going to run another red light right there. So at any rate, this is the reason why LAPD, all the law enforcement that's been involved, want to bring this thing to a stop. Just making those dangerous moves, even though it was kind of slow and looked cautious, somebody not paying attention that's got the green, it could have gone the other way. Yes. That is for sure. And believe me, I've been accused many a times for doing what you're not supposed to do, fiddling with the radio, on the phone, do social media while driving. And I'm not alone, and a lot of these folks on the road are doing the same thing. I'm wondering, Vinny, can you push in real quick? Is that little car again that's basically right there making the turn? He's turning off. But I think that was the car. That was the car again. So followed this van to this point, but now for some reason pulling off, which is the right thing to do. The van kind of just driving on there. You just don't know. Maybe that was somebody that was even willing to say, like, hey, get in my car and, we can do, I'm going to help you out. But at any rate, hopefully that wasn't the plan, because law enforcement frowns on that as well. Right now, the van just continues to drive, more or less traffic speeds. And, again, it's one of those ones. We're following it, and a lot of folks at home might be saying, well, it's not even a pursuit, guys. Technically, no. But law enforcement keeping an eye on this van for sure. And they definitely want to get this guy into custody. Definitely. There we go. Here's another person. Looks like either it's either a fan of the media or knows that driver, trying to get the attention of the driver. It wasn't close by any means, but definitely looked like he was going to run that light, but that Camaro cut him off. Yes.